Once again, I'm asking you, what if HISUIAN Braviary was in Gen 1 OU? This is yet another Pokemon I covered a year ago, and this honestly might have been a bigger fumble than Breloom. That's a tall order to pass because I thought Breloom would be banned when it was just having the worst possible type you could have for Gen 1 OU. But Braviary here is very different. I had the worst possible moveset ever. Like, I'm pretty sure my moveset for it was like... it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure my moveset for this thing was would be like Psychic, Agility, and then freaking Confuse Ray. It was not good. Really not good. But one of the people on my server has pointed to me like a few times now that Esper Wing is just a really good move for Gen 1. And I never really thought of it, because in the past, I used to think to myself, I would only give Pokemon their signature moves if they truly needed it. The philosophy has changed since then. If it's a Pokemon like Lucario with a move that will just completely ransack Gen 1, I won't add it. But I am more willing to add Pokemon with its signature moves like Esper Wing. And holy crap, this thing is so good for Gen 1. 100% chance to raise your speed by 1. And a high critical hit ratio. Guess what? 65 speed. You need 64 to always get auto crits with high crit rate moves. And guess what it also earns? That's right, it earns Slash. And just to prove it earns Slash, because it's a bird, so I'm sure some of you might not be convinced, but it's down here. But it's literally right here. So that's already pretty good. Unfortunately, on my regular Braviary, it doesn't have a super high attack stat, nor does it have a normal stat, which, as you can imagine, that is... You really do miss that. Though, to be honest, and a Braviary with Psychic Normal with Slash and Esper Wing would be literally unstoppable. I don't know what would want to deal with that. But it doesn't matter, because at the very least, you still have 112 special attack, which is really good. Especially when having 2 Psychic moves. Now, granted, this is the one part I'm unsure about, but I feel like Psychic is just a good move just to have anyways. Some other moves you can have would be like what you see here: Rest, Hyper Beam, Body Slam, Nightshade. Hyper Beam is only a little bit stronger than Slash with a crit, so you're mostly just using it for like either that extra like 10 base power, or just for that off chance you can get a crit. It does a lot more damage. But I feel like if you're doing that, you might as well go for Psychic, because anything that you need to hit with Hyper Beam, I'm pretty sure it's just more effective to fish for special drops. Nightshade is good consistent damage all around. However, with an auto crit that is not, or I guess Slash is immune, but it doesn't really matter too much. But when you have 2 auto crits on both the physical and special side, it really doesn't matter that you have Nightshade. You already have consistent damage either way. The only thing you don't have consistent... Oh no, it is just everything. Because Gengar is weak to Esper Wing, and Rhydon doesn't like taking Esper Wing either. Anything that it resists Psychic, you can just hit with Slash. And even then, Esper Wing oftentimes does more damage, ironically enough. So yeah, that's, you don't need that either. There's Body Slam, which you could use for fishing for special, or not special drops, paralysis. But with Esper Wing, it works just like Agility. If something paralyzes you, you use Esper Wing, you completely, like, ignore the speed drop. And with just 1 Esper Wing, 130 Pokemon still outspeed you, which is unfortunate. But the vast majority of the tier, you are faster than. But even then, Esper Wing is 110% a move you use a lot. Probably the main move you use. So you're going to be faster at everything in practice most likely. But if they play around you, they might be able to kill you with a Jolteon or something. So overall, I just can't see any real moves other than Hyper Beam. Or not Hyper Beam, I mean Psychic. I just can't see anything else really being used. Because, like, there's also agility, but you have Esper Wing, so why would you need agility? And Confuse Ray is just straight up bad. You 100% would rather go for special drops. And even then, you might not even, like, want or need to go for special drops. Because Esper Wing is already good enough on its own. So the only move I could see would be Rest. Because using HISUIAN Braviary as a very bulky Pokemon with 2 auto-crit moves does seem very helpful. And that's the main thing I can see. The last move that I definitely think you would have is Substitute. Because with 110 HP, it takes 2 Seismic Tosses or 2 Nightshades to break it. But since you're just naturally bulky and resist Psychic, Executor's Double Edge and Psychic takes 2 to break the sub. The exact same for Alakazam with, I believe, Psychic and definitely with Seismic Toss. So you get 1 substitute off, and then you start like fishing for crits with those Esper Wing, maybe even going for Rust as well and getting rid of Psychic, or hiding behind the sub and fishing for a special drop. This is just so much better than I originally thought it would. Like, it's not even funny just how great this is. I think it might be borderline, or I think it might just be Ubers. Because I don't know, this seems like a lot for Gen 1 OU to handle. Because with 1 Esper Wing, you outspeed Tauros, and you better believe you outspeed it, and 2 Esper Wings with a crit always kill. There are some things I can handle it, ish. Like, Starmie is like a pretty good choice. Hoister and Jinx outspeed, it can kill with a critical Blizzard. Jinx probably just wins straight up. Jolteon and Zapdos are good. But it still feels like it's easy to work around. So I don't know, I just feel like this might just be too much for the meta. But maybe you'll agree with me after we get on to the replays. How about that? Alright, starting off with the boy himself. And I kind of already explained how this goes. Blizzard is not even a 2 KO, so even a crit isn't actually going to save you here. So Braviary just has the option to just beat Tauros. And even with some chip, it can probably win. And even with a paralysis on Body Slam, it went for that instead. Braviary still becomes faster. I'm not going to call it a great matchup, because a Tauros is still very dangerous at the end of the day. But good. Definitely a good matchup. Now Snorlax. Amnesia Wax just fumbles kinda hard. I guess Ice Beam could be very dangerous, but I feel like you can handle that. Both Psychic and Esper Wing do a lot of damage to Snorlax, and even if Braviary were to get paralyzed with Body Slam, it would just become faster again anyways. But against regulars, actually, now that I think about it, now I regret not making a replay with Amnesia Wax, because 1 Ice Beam probably would do a lot of damage to Braviary, and a paralysis could have been a problem there. I had this as a good matchup originally, but I think once we get to the tier lists, I'm moving this back to could go either way, as is most things with Snorlax. Next off is Chansey, and because of you having Slash, that is good consistent damage, and I'm pretty sure you might be able to survive a counter. I don't know for sure, but counter isn't super common in the first place. Not to mention, you can very easily just fish for the counter by using Psychic or Esper Wing. And even Esper Wing does pretty similar damage to Slash, all things considered. So what do we have here? With you being faster, Chansey can't really afford to... I mean, it can't go for a Thunder Wave, and it's probably the best call, but Braviary is going to be faster again. If Chansey isn't, like, careful with Soft Boiled, it can like get killed off by Slash. I guess I did kind of forget that Ice Beam is super effective. But then again, like, Braviary is still doing a lot of damage, and with it being faster, like, Chansey can't really afford to just go full offense. Since I would imagine you go for Slash, they go for Thunder Wave, most likely. Okay, someone's going to need to do a calc for me, because I think I might have fumbled with this. My bad. If someone tells me, like, that Ice Beam is a 2 KO, but even then, that's probably unlikely, given just how high Braviary's HP is, and 70 special defense is the exact same as Tauros. So it's probably a 3 KO, so I'm pretty sure it might still be a good matchup either way. Alright, next up is Alakazam. Zam can paralyze you. Esper Wing does not do that much damage to you, but you do not care because you have Slash. And it does a lot of damage to Zam. So Zam cannot do much to you, unfortunately. And you don't care too much about special drops in the first place, because Esper Wing is just going to crit. So a pretty great matchup. Alright, next up is Cloyster. And since Cloyster is faster than you, there's Blizzard, that alone is a big problem. And theoretically, Cloyster could also clamp you into a damage range. But given, like, Clamp's inaccuracy, one miss just kills it for Cloyster. So this is a could go either way, and I don't think either one of them has a significant edge over the other. And for Executor, this one's interesting, because neither have a way to do any real, like, super good damage. But since Double Edge doesn't do that much, Substitute is what helps you win here. 100%. Especially since Executor is slower than you. I'm pretty sure, like, Substitute also works for Psychic. Yes, it does. So Executor, like, maybe, like, in theory, should be able to chip Braviary decently well. But in practice, Braviary can tank it very easily. And this is probably a good example of why you might want rest on Braviary. But then again, that also could put you in danger of Explosion. So I don't know. I feel like this is still a pretty good matchup. Now Gengar. The only real question you probably have is if Esper Wing is an OHKO or not. It is not. It's close though. But it doesn't matter too much because any chip on Gengar, it cannot beat Braviary. You do not risk it if you're Gengar. Braviary just has a pretty great matchup there. Alright, next off, we have, I believe this is Jolteon. Jolteon hits you really hard. It sucks. But there's Esper Wing. You just got your speed boost. You can kill it. But oh no, it's actually still faster than you. You need 2 in order to outspeed Jolteon. As you can imagine, that is a really, really big deal. And Jolteon is a huge threat to where Braviary can never really afford to face it. So it's unwinnable. We have Jinx, and it's kind of worse. It hits you, like, even harder with just Stab Blizzard. And you can't really hurt it that much. Slash does 50, but, like, in this case, like, Braviary got lucky with Blizzard missing, but you're not risking that. Not in a long shot. And you kind of need to be faster, too. You can't just go for Slash and then hope they miss. So even though Braviary won in this replay, I'm calling that an unwinnable in terms like with the tier list. Now I figured with Braviary here, it probably would be worth putting Rock Slide back on Rhydon again. It does a lot of damage, but Braviary can tank it. As long as you just avoid and don't take too much chip damage, you can pretty easily beat Rhydon. But it's not the most free thing in the world, I guess. Now Slowbro is interesting. Like, fishing for a special drop probably won't be worth it at the end, because Amnesia just builds up way too quickly. And you have Slash. But Slash doesn't really do that much, because you don't have Stab, and Slowbro just has natural high defense. So ironically, Esper Wing is actually your best bet here. Not even like the physical move. It's the one that, you know, Slowbro resists. But because of that, matchups really, could go either way. The paralysis and how much Slowbro is able to set up with Surf, like, makes or breaks this. But in reality, it's really just the paralysis luck. Since Braviary can always get Slowbro pretty low to where it needs to rest. And I guess how I think about it, I'm pretty sure Braviary could be stalled out with rest. But then again, Surf also has a pretty good amount of damage. So Braviary saving power points while Slowbro's asleep by using Slash instead is also pretty reasonable. But Slowbro here, like, I just... I guess technically you could run an ice move, but I think that's pretty bad. I think you still want surf. And you don't... And maybe max special kills? But I don't think you can afford to like get max special with Braviary, because it does hit that hard with Esper Wing. So I don't know. I don't know who has the better matchup here. It's really even. I apologize if I already said that, but there's not much else, and this is a pretty decently long replay. So, let me just remind you guys to join the Discord server. Like, I host tournaments based off the videos I make, and I'd love for you to be there for that. It's a lot of fun. You can also just have casual matches with format. I'd love to have you. But let's move on, shall we? That was a longer than average replay. Starmie. Now, this is like one of the few things you just have a pretty bad matchup against. I wouldn't say unwinnable, although you can probably argue that. But with Blizzard and Thunderbolt, Starmie has great coverage against you. You can become faster, but you just don't have the options to really hurt it that much, because Starmie can always heal off. So yeah, it sucks. But then again, you can't win them all. And you already have such a dominant matchup against most of the other things, especially like some of the other psychic types and normal types, which is very rare. So I think this is fair enough. And to be honest, I don't think Starmie alone is enough to really make Braviary balance. But what about Victory Bell? Do you think Victory Bell could use Stun Spore and then Wrap Lock Braviary? There's only one way to find out. Victory Bell sucks. Moving on. Now we have Zapdos. And I haven't really mentioned it now, because with Esper Wing you kind of forget about it a lot. But Braviary only having 65 speed sometimes is a problem. Because things like Zapdos which outspeed, and you can't really profit off your speed too much because they're just going to kill you anyways. It's a big problem. Zapdos is still the top bird in Gen 1. But with how well Braviary did, I figured I would see just how good it would do in Ubers. Because I feel like there's a good chance it would actually be moved to there. Having Mew here, with Sword Stance, it will always just be able to do a lot of damage to Braviary. Braviary can't do that much. Like, the best thing it can probably do is fish for special drops. But as you can probably tell, that's not the most consistent thing in the world. So I think Mew has this, like, to be honest. I'll just give you a spoiler right now. It does not do well against the Mewbers. I could see it maybe being used as like a better Tauros, just for immediate damage. Since I would imagine Esper Wing's probably better than what Tauros does. But, I did find it interesting how, what's it called? Who was faster there? It was, oh, never mind. I don't know why I remember, like, Braviary being faster. But who, oh well. Last but not least, we got the king of Ubers himself, Mewtwo. And I think you guys already know how this is gonna go. You're faster, and like we saw with Jolteon, you are faster if you have 130 base speed. So Mewtwo just absolutely murders Braviary with Thunderbolt or Ice Beam. Unfortunate. Overall, here's the tier list though. It's really, really good. And some of these you can probably change. Like, this is probably going to could go either way. You could probably make an argument for Rhydon being could go either way as well. You can actually make an argument for Exeggutor being great matchups, now that I think about it. Especially with Rest. So, I don't know how I fumbled so much with the first HISUIAN Braviary video. I apologize to the bird community. It will probably happen again. But what do you think? Do you think HISUIAN Braviary would be too much for Gen 1 OU? And what other videos would you like me to see? And what other videos would you like me to revisit? I'm gonna do Driftblim, because that's also one I messed up on. Not to mention, I misspelled its name in the original video. I still need to do Mimikyu. And there's some others I'm gonna do in the future. So be on the lookout for that. But until next time, this is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you.